So we got to play some of the new Season 1 content that's coming to Battlefield 6 in the Battlefields Labs tests thanks to EA. So we got to try out some of the new maps, the new modes that are coming in, and perhaps most excitingly, the new guns that are coming as well. We've enjoyed the variety of guns in the game itself, as I'm sure many of you guys are as you go through and do your challenges and unlock all of them. But with more on the horizon, it does beg the question, how good are they going to be? How do they feel? What do they do differently? And so on. Well, as it interests us the most, we had to jump in and check them out, see how different attachments work, try it out in the firing range, and of course, test run it against other players in the labs tests. So with a bunch of new stuff coming to Battlefield 6, let's go over it and see how it all felt. We'll start it off by taking a look at the Mini Scout. This is a new sniper, a bolt-action sniper to be specific, and while we don't know how it unlocks exactly just yet, we're thinking it could be easier or straight up given to us in Season 1, making it a lot more accessible than some of those other later snipers that are locked behind challenges. And let me tell you, this could be a very good thing, as I've very much enjoyed how this one felt to play and use. Plus it has this really cool Golden Valor skin that while we don't know how you get it, it does look very cool, so I'll be keeping my eye out for that one. Now, a major thing to take note of for this Mini Scout is that it has baked in ADS rechambering. That means you don't need to spend your attachment points or unlock that annoying attachment that lets you do it on all the other snipers. So this thing can just straight up be used while ADSing the full time. You don't have to come out of your scope to do the next shot, but it is really hard to untrain that from your brain if you don't like using that attachment. Honestly, the Mini Scout felt pretty incredible to me. I love sniping in Battlefield 6 and it just felt snappy. You also felt a bit more mobile with it versus some of the other snipers. In the training room, it handled really nicely and was great to use on the targets, but in matches, boy oh boy was it fun. You could do back-to-back shots fairly fast for body hits, and while you do have to rechamber, it didn't take too long, and of course those headshots would just instant kill. So as long as you were going for headshots, this thing was a great sniper. Otherwise, you'd have to rapidly go for double body shots, which again, wasn't too bad. I'm a bit unsure about the sweet spot range on this one. I really couldn't seem to find it, so I'm not sure exactly how that will work. But outside of the sweet spot range, just going for headshots and just sniping people in general felt pretty good. This might be my next go-to sniper when Season 1 drops. I'll also say it did feel great to play in the new maps, but they are geared towards more open areas and just sniping in general, so bear that in mind. Alright, next we'll go over to the SAW 300 SC. This is a new, shorter SCAR, and it also has a good range of pretty nice looking skins for it as well. I will say, when I first slapped on some attachments to this and popped it out in the firing range, oh my gosh, did this thing feel amazing in the firing range. It has almost no recoil. It has not too high bloom until you get deep into the magazine, but it did have quite high drop-off. It goes from 25 on the first couple dummies to 20 and then 17, so it really isn't geared towards medium or long range. And while it did feel amazing in the firing range, I had such high hopes. It was kind of hard to tell how competitive this might be in actual multiplayer when it hits the live version. Now, we didn't have the best ping in the labs tests, so that could be a factor, and the fact that the new maps were also very big, so they were more geared towards longer ranged fights. But going against other people who were using some of the more current meta weapons in the test, I don't think the time to kill could really stand up against them. But it was still a very fun weapon to use and a very easy weapon to use due to that very minimal recoil and pretty minimal bloom outside of just spraying the whole mag. So this gun felt really good, but I think more testing is going to be needed, and I'm not entirely certain how it's going to stack up against some of the current fastest time to kill guns. We'll have to test it against them when it comes out. I do also want to say though, I am a fan of how the SCAR just looks in general, so this one is quite appealing to me. I'm definitely going to be giving it a proper try when it does drop. And I would love to know, are you guys more excited to try this one or the Mini Scout Sniper? Tell me down below. Next up, however, is the GGH-22, a new Glock 22 being added as a sidearm. Now, initially I was very excited when I saw this, but after testing it out, well, it just kind of felt alright. It has a very low fire rate, so you can't really spam shoot it that fast, which means if someone is looking at you with a gun or a faster fire rate pistol, well, you're in trouble. But it was pretty easy to control and has okay damage for a sidearm, but the fire rate really was holding it back, at least in my opinion. I'll probably be sticking with some of the other sidearm options, but hey, that's just me. There's also a new attachment that's coming in, which is the rail cover. It only costs 5 points, which is really nice, so you can squeeze it on some builds where you have 5 points left over. But what it does is improve your weapon's draw speed by a very small amount. I don't think this is going to be a game-changing attachment, but for only 5 points, I do think you can fit this into a lot of builds where you end up with 5 points left over anyway. So I think it's going to be a nice addition, but all it really does is increase your draw speed by a small amount. Now, outside of all of this, there is additional Season 1 content coming. It's spread in 3 beats over October, November, and December. They're adding a new map on each beat, alongside new weapons, modes, and vehicles. I do want to point out the new Traverser Mark II vehicle was something we got to test out, and the gunner seats in this thing are very strong. I love them. Plus, it's a mobile spawn point for your entire team. So your team can spawn on you, hop out, and you can get some good map coverage with it. And it even has a unique perk that lets you capture points faster, so this vehicle has a big thumbs up from me. I think it's going to be really impactful in games. Now, we did get to try 2 of the new maps as well. The Blackwell Fields Map is, well, basically a sniper heaven. It has massive open sightlines and minimal cover spread out. Even the capture points only have a couple pieces of cover or maybe one building. So I can see this being a crazy sniper map if people are into that, but if you're running anything else, it is a bit rough. Plus, because it's so open, if one team has aerial dominance, well, it can get a little rough out there. But hey, that's what these maps are about. If you like more open, more barren Battlefield style maps, then I think you'll love it. But if that doesn't sound like your cup of tea, then I don't think you're going to get on with it at all. I will say sniping felt great on it, but hey, I think this map was kind of designed around that. And then there was the Eastwood map, which had a good mix of vehicle fights, indoor battles, and open areas in between. So this was a bit more well-rounded, and I really liked the more vibrant color palette of the whole map in general. It sort of had a little bit of everything. You could snipe if you wanted to, you could run CQB on the indoor objectives if you wanted to, you could hop in a tank and do all of that kind of stuff, so it really did have everything going on, but I would say the map as a whole isn't as big as I would want it to be. I think some of these maps could do with being around 50% bigger to really get you that proper Battlefield feeling in. But out of the 2, Eastwood was definitely my preference, although I'm very interested to see what the community will think of these maps when they do come out. On top of that, we got to try the 2 new modes, and I will say, both of these new modes felt a lot faster paced and geared towards more smaller, intense back-to-back action kind of fights and scenarios. You had Strikepoint, which doesn't allow you to redeploy in between rounds and kind of plays like Call of Duty's Search and Destroy, but instead of planting a bomb, you need to hold a point or wipe out the enemy team. So if you like more intense fights where every individual kill really matters, then Strikepoint was pretty cool. Then you had Sabotage, which is 2 teams, one attacking, one defending, and the attacking team has to destroy one of 3 enemy cargo points. Meanwhile, the defenders need to stop the attackers from destroying one of those points. Basically, you could use explosives, you could just mag dump these crates to do damage to them, and they were kind of scattered around different areas within those allocated zones for those pieces of cargo. There's definitely room here to do some crazy flanks and squad pushes, but the maps again were very small. Honestly, we really didn't mind these modes. I actually had fun on them. But I think for a lot of people, they aren't going to feel very Battlefield-y. But at the same time, they are optional new modes. You can always stick to Conquest or Breakthrough or something like that. So there's our rundown of all the new stuff coming in Season 1, at least that we got to try so far. There's obviously more guns coming as well, and extra things, and another map, the ice version of Empire State, that's coming in December. I'm really excited to try out all of these new guns in the live version of the game, and the new ones that are coming in November as well. Of course, we'll have you covered here on the channel with all the details and all that good stuff, so make sure you're subscribed down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Here at Arix Gaming, we're 2 friends who love to play games. You have me, Paradise, as well as 26.
Our goal is to keep the videos as concise as possible by cutting out any of the fluff and focusing on what really matters with high quality videos.
So make sure you're subscribed down below for more videos on your favorite games coming very, very soon.